So let's review. Amar Bavo, Amar B'Yechanan. Kol Yisurin Shabbat Torah, Ein Heter Mitzdarf LeIsur, Chutz Mi-Isuri Nazir. B'Yechanan teaches that generally when an Isur is mixed with mutter items, we do not count the volume of the heter toward the share of the Isur, with the exception of the Isur of a Nazir. Shari Amar Torah Mishras. Because in the parsha of Nazir, the Torah says, V'chol Mishras Anovim Lo Yishta. He should not drink anything soaked in wine. To teach us that if a Nazir eats a kazayas of bread soaked in wine, even though there is much less than a kazayas of actual wine in the bread, he is chayiv as if he ate a full kazayas of wine. Rashi explains that if there was a kazayas of actual wine in the bread, we would not need a special pasuk. Of course he is chayiv for eating kazayas of wine. Therefore we must say that the pasuk comes to teach heter mitzdarf le'isr. Ziri adds that the isra of burning a kazayas of chametz on the mizbeach is another exception. If chametz and matzah are mixed, one is chayav for burning a kazayas of the mixture, even though there is less than a kazayas of actual chametz. The Gemara clarifies that the iri also means to include chametz bepesach as an exception. If a person eats a kazayas of a mixture of chametz and non-chametz on Pesach, he is chayav as if he ate a full kazayas of chametz. Abaye asked Rav Dimi, how can we say that by other Yisurim aside from Nazir and Chametz, that we don't count the heter in the mixture toward the shir of Isser, in light of the following Mishnah? If a Tvilim touches a porridge made with chulin grains and truma garlic and oil, the area that he touches becomes puzzle, even though the truma should be batal b'raiv, nullified in the majority of the porridge, which is chulin. Matam, the reason it's treated like truma and becomes puzzle is that if a non-kohen would eat a kazayas of the mixture, he'd get malchus for eating truma. Apparently, because we assume heter mitzdarf le'isr. Rav Dimi answers that we do not mean to say that a non-kohen who eats a kazayas of the mixture would be chayiv, but that a non-kohen who eats a full kazayas of the isr by eating a pras, the equivalent of 3 or 4 eggs of the mixture, would be chayiv. This is the notion of kazayas b'chtei achilas pras. When a person consumes a kazayas within the time it takes to eat a pras, it is considered a normal consumption of that kazayas, and he will be punished for it. Abai questions the idea that kazayas b'chtei achilas pras is a deraisa principle from 3 sources. First, ihachi amai plig rabban ledr b'liyazer b'kudach habavli. If it were really deraisa, why would the Rabbana hold that there is no malchus for eating the kutach dip, which clearly contains a kazayas of chametz within each pras of dip? Rav Dimi answers that kutach is never consumed straight, and when used as a dip, a person never eats a kazayas of chametz within the span of kedechil's pras. If a person were to eat kutach straight, he would not be punished because batla daita etzel das kol adam. His behavior is considered an aberration, and one is not chayav for totally abnormal eating. Second, the Brisa says that when 2 packages of spices, 1 truma and 1 chulin, fall into 2 pots, one with chulin food and one with truma food, we can assume truma tech truma naflo, v'chulin tech chulin naflo. Each fell into the pot of its kind. Presumably, each pot has a kazayas b'chtei achilas pras of spice in it. If the issue is a deraisa concern, now how can we assume that everything worked out in a lenient way? Rav Dimi answers that the case is a concern of truma on spices, which is only truma d'Rabbanan, since on the deraisa level only dagan, tirish, v'yitzer are chayiv in truma. Finally, Abaye challenges from a brisa that speaks about 2 boxes of grain fell into 2 containers of grain, and there too we have the right to assume that the truma fell into the truma and the chulin fell into the chulin, apparently because kazayas b'chtei achilas pras is not deraisa. Rav Dimi answers, Hanach letruma bezman hazeh d'Rabbanan. That brisa is speaking about truma nowadays, which is only d'Rabbanan, even on dagan, tirish, v'yitzer. Rabbi Yechanan had said that Mishras teaches heter mitzdarf le'isr. The Gemara asks, V'hai Mishras lahachi hu da'asa? How can we say that Mishras teaches heter mitzdarf le'isr when the brisa says that Mishras teaches tam kirker, that if a nazir drinks water that is flavored by grapes, it's the same as drinking wine. And nazir, which is a relatively light isser in that it's not permanent, there is no isser hana, and the isser can be undone through hatara, serves as the basis for the concept of tam kirker in Oli Surin Shabbat Torah. The Gemara answers, Hamani Rabbanon v'Rabbi Yechanan da'ama k'Rabbi Kiva. This is actually machlekes. The Brisa follows the opinion of the Rabbanan that Mishras teaches Tam Ki'ikr, and Rabbi Yechanan follows the opinion of Rabbi Kiva that Mishras teaches Heter Mitzdarf Le'Isr. Rabbi Kiva Tam Ki'ikr Menale. But then what is Rabbi Kiva's source for Tam Ki'ikr? First we suggest he learns it from Basa B'chalav, where it is just the flavor of milk that gets absorbed in the meat through the cooking, and it's still aser. The Gemara rejects this, though, because we cannot learn from Basa B'chalav, because it's a chiddush in that soaking meat in milk all day will not make a Basa B'chalav, but the moment they are cooked together, it becomes Basa B'chalav. Second, we suggest Yalaf Migi'uli Nachar. Kiva learns Tam Ki'ikr from the requirement to kosher pots, which only have flavors of non-kosher food. The Gemara rejects this too, because Ki'uli Nachar is also a chiddush. Since normally, once flavor has been trapped in the walls of a pot for 24 hours, it becomes pogum, rancid, and kol noisin tam lefkam mutter. The fact that we need to purge the pot of those flavors is a chiddush. Rabbi Kiva though holds that Ki'uli Nachar is not a chiddush, because it only applies to a kedera bas yema, a pot that had been used for non-kosher food within the last 24 hours, when it is not noisin tam lefkam. Therefore, Ki'uli Nachar is not a chiddush and can serve as the source of Tam Ki'ikr for Kol Yisurin Shebat Torah.